Welcome to Life Wisdom, a space to pause, reflect, and find calm in the noise of everyday life. Today, we'll take a moment to reflect on the value of calmness. In a world that never stops moving, where the noise of work, social media, and invisible races fill every corner of our lives, calmness seems to have become a rare luxury. People today react quickly, get angry easily, feel anxious over small things, and lose their inner peace without even realizing it. We live in an age that worships speed. Fast information, fast decisions, fast results. But amidst all that rush, there is one timeless value quietly fading away: the value of calmness. Calmness is not simply the stillness of the body, but the stillness of the heart, the ability to stay grounded and composed while the world swirls around us. Many people mistake calmness for indifference, thinking that a calm person is emotionless or detached from life. But in truth, calmness is a kind of strength. A calm person is not someone without feelings, but someone who has learned to listen, to understand, and to choose their response with wisdom instead of instinct. To be calm means to know that you can be angry, sad, or worried, yet still refuse to let those emotions dictate your actions. Calmness is knowing that reacting impulsively will never solve the problem, and that clarity comes only when the storm within us settles. When we lose our calm, we often lose ourselves. Everyone has experienced moments of anger that led to regret, words spoken too fast, actions done too harshly. In those moments, the mind becomes clouded. We no longer see clearly what is right or wrong. We only feel the heat of emotion burning through our reason. Many relationships fall apart, many opportunities vanish, many wounds are created because of one brief moment of lost calm. Sometimes it takes only a few seconds of rage to bring years of pain. In contrast, a calm person has the ability to master both themselves and the situation. When we stay calm, we create a small pause, a precious space where reason can breathe. That pause may be short, but it holds great power. It allows us to look at the problem from a different angle, to see it more clearly, and to choose a reaction that we won't regret later. In work, calmness helps us handle crises without panic. In love, it helps us listen instead of lash out. In life, it helps us balance what we gain and what we lose between hope and reality. Calm people often bring peace to those around them. Their energy feels like quiet water, soft, steady, yet deep. Being near them, we feel safe because they are not rushing, not pressuring, not forcing. They seem to radiate quiet confidence, the kind that says, everything will be okay, as long as we don't let fear take over. Calmness is a silent language of trust. It reminds us that peace is not found in control, but in acceptance. Calmness is also a sign of maturity. The young often react, the mature often observe. When we are still inexperienced, we want to prove ourselves right, to have the last word, to be acknowledged. But as we grow, we realize that not every battle is worth fighting, and not every argument is worth winning. Calmness is knowing when to stay silent, when to smile instead of explode, when to walk away instead of respond. Such calmness is not weakness. It comes from understanding and faith that everything has its own time. No one is born calm. Calmness is a skill, an art, a form of wisdom learned through experience and mistakes. Every time we lose our temper, we learn a little more about ourselves. Every hardship teaches us patience. Every failure trains us to see that life does not bend to our will. And one day, after many storms, we suddenly realize that nothing is truly worth the price of losing our inner peace. That realization is when calmness begins to grow within us, not because we no longer feel, but because we finally know what truly matters. When life brings great challenges, calmness becomes the rope that keeps us from falling into despair. There are moments when we lose everything: a loved one, a job, our sense of direction, or hope. In those moments, calmness does not mean that we do not hurt. It means we choose to stay grounded in the midst of pain. It means we do not fight against reality, but observe it, understand it, and slowly find our way through it. Like the ocean, no matter how fierce the waves on the surface, the depth remains calm. Calmness is that deep ocean inside each of us, a place untouched by storms. To cultivate calmness, we must first learn to observe ourselves. When emotions arise, pause for a moment. Notice your heartbeat, your breathing, the thoughts racing in your mind. Just by taking a slow, deep breath, you begin to return to the present moment. Calmness is not suppression. It is allowing emotions to pass through without being carried away by them. Every feeling, no matter how intense, will eventually fade if we stop feeding it with resistance. One of the most powerful ways to nurture calmness is to remember that everything is temporary. Joy, sadness, success, failure, all come and go. When we understand that nothing lasts forever, we become less fearful, less desperate to hold on. We no longer panic when things change, because we know change is the only constant. Acceptance brings freedom, and in that freedom, calmness blooms like a quiet flower in the heart. The deepest value of calmness lies in its ability to bring inner peace, regardless of circumstances. Calm people are not controlled by the world around them. Whether the day is bright or gray, whether others praise or criticize them, they remain steady. They understand that happiness is not about having a perfect life, but about having a peaceful mind. When the heart is calm, the world becomes softer. Calmness also cultivates compassion. When we are not overwhelmed by our own emotions, we begin to understand others better. Anger blinds us. Calmness opens our eyes. An angry person sees enemies everywhere. A calm person sees teachers in everyone. Calmness keeps us from judging too quickly, from concluding too soon, because we know that every person acts from their own pain or story. When we understand this, our hearts become gentler and more forgiving. On the path of growth, calmness is the quiet light that guides us. It keeps us from getting lost in noise, confusion, and haste. It helps us slow down and see where we truly are, what we really want, and what truly matters. Sometimes, a single moment of calmness can save us from a mistake we can't undo. Sometimes, a single deep breath can preserve a relationship we would otherwise destroy. Ultimately, the greatest value of calmness does not lie in what we achieve, but in how we live each moment. When we are calm, we live more deeply, feel more clearly, and love more sincerely. We no longer rush through life. We walk alongside it. We no longer fear loss because we understand that everything has its reason for coming and going. Calmness allows us to experience life fully without clinging or resistance. Life will always be changing. There will always be storms, challenges, and things beyond our control. But if we can remain calm amidst the chaos, we will not be swept away by it. We will stand steady and aware, watching the storm pass, knowing that we are more than the circumstances around us. Calmness not only makes us more peaceful, but also helps us see ourselves more clearly. For only when the mind is still can we see the world as it truly is. And so, calmness is not merely a virtue. It is an art of living. An art that requires no grand gestures, no loud declarations. It is the quiet grace of a soul that knows how to pause in the rush of life, how to smile when things don't go as planned, and how to trust that no matter how strong the storm, there is always a quiet place within that cannot be touched. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share to spread positivity. See you in the next video on Life Wisdom.